Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel, Racing Pigeons with John Hunt. Now I've covered young birds and widowhood hens. I am going to go into covering widowhood cocks, but that'll be my next video. This video I'm going to do my top 10 tips, but I'm going to break it down into 2 videos of 5. So my number 1 tip, and I think this goes without saying in any winning loft, is a routine. I think a routine's a must. What I mean by routine is same time every day let out, same time fed every day, especially young birds, well, and old birds, both. My times used to be, I used to get the garden about 5:30 in the morning, sometimes earlier in the summer, and I used to get the young birds out first once they were flying, get the young birds in, and then the hens would go out. So the young birds would go out, say 4:30 to 5:30, and then I'd get the hens out, say 6 till 7, and then the cocks out from say 7:15 till 8:15. And then that would be them locked up until tea time. So that's tip 1, routine. And I think it's a must. Even if you can, if I know a lot of lads work, so it'll be hard to kind of do it, but especially with hens, you could even let them out just once a day, the hens, if you've only got the time, because they're that flexible hens, you could do that as long as they've got their routine and the feed's right. My second tip would be when buying pigeons in. Now I see a lot of people, and I've got nothing against people who want to pay a lot of money for pigeons, but you don't need to pay a lot of money for pigeons. A lot of pigeons are sold online now, and I see lads selling young birds, quality young birds, for £50 each. That would probably exceed young birds of a pigeon with a bit of paper for £1,000, in my opinion. The best pigeons I've ever bought are never been more than £100. And we've paid, in the past, we've paid a lot of money for pigeons, and they've ended up going the journey, because I would never sell pigeons on that weren't good enough for us. They would never be good enough for someone else in my eyes. So that would be my second tip, is when buying stock, do your homework. You can get as close to the tree as you want if you do your homework for cheaper prices, for sure. So that would be tip 2. Tip 3 is go to a winning loft. At me, when I first started, I hadn't flew pigeons for a lot of years, and I looked at the Up North Combine, and I looked who were the top flyers, and I picked one out, and I went and see them, and that's who he was like a mentor to us, to be honest. We bought pigeons off him that 1 hour, and he was like a mentor to us. So go to a winning loft and quiz them. I went with a pen and paper the first time I ever went, and I just asked him loads of questions, wrote it down, got his system, and it worked. And after that, we became close, and we helped each other. So that would be tip 3, go to a winning loft. Tip 4, keep it simple. Too many people overcomplicate things. Give them this, give them that, keep them this. I mean, I hear people putting garlic in the water. Now, this I never get my head round. You put garlic in the water and you try and drink garlic. Now, I tell you now, you'll be dehydrated within no time. Garlic in the water is, I don't understand it. When you can get garlic oil, if you want to give them garlic, and put it on the coal. So keeping it simple, what I mean by that is treat for canker, treat for respiratory during the season, treat before the season, to make sure they're clean, ready for the season. And that goes hand in hand with the routine, which turns into a formula for a winning loft, in my opinion. Another thing is overfeeding. Now, overfeeding, what I mean by overfeeding is you let your pigeons out, you get them in, and you just whack corn into them, and they end up with 4 massive crops, and they're sat there on their perch, and they end up being sick, and other pigeons will eat that. And overfeeding, I think, is the biggest mistake people make in pigeon raising. I mean, look at any athlete, you don't see fat on. Look at Mo Farah, for instance. There's no picking the fat on Mo Farah, but he was the quickest over 20 mile in the world for a long time, or whatever distance he run. So overfeeding and fat pigeons win nothing. Underfeeding also you don't want to do, and that's why I had the feeding system I had, and the pigeons never ever had a full crop, so they never had to digest it, they were never sick, and things like that. So the overfeed, what was the other one? Overfeeding, especially with young birds. Young birds need to be on a piece of string until they're flying. Once they're flying, then you can get them into the routine and get that extra food in them. But you don't have to starve them. It's just part of a routine, and keeping the feed right. Because a fat young bird, you'll not get off the ground to fly, and it's just an absolute nightmare. And then when they do get up, they'll land on the roof, and once they get on the roof, they'll fly to the next roof, and then that's how you lose them. So you've got to keep your young birds not underfed, but not overfed enough. So when you do get them up, they can actually fly and not just go and sit on a house roof. So I think that's about it for the first 5 tips. I'm going to do a video tomorrow with my second, with the other 5 tips, but that's going to be regarding breeding, yeast build-up in pigeons, which I forgot to mention in one of my last videos, and grit and minerals, when to give them and when to take them out and things like that. But that'll be in tomorrow's video. I'm trying to think if there's anything else, just looking at my notes here. But the biggest thing out of them 5 tips so far is routine. Your pigeons must have a routine. If you let your pigeons out at 1 o'clock one day, 3 o'clock the next, 9 o'clock in the morning the next, you're not going to win nothing. Put it that way. They need to have a routine. They're a creature of habit, a bit like humans, so a routine's a must. So I'm going to wrap this video up there for now, guys. If you'd like to subscribe to the channel, that's my motivation. So I would really appreciate that. I'll do another top 10 tips tomorrow. Another top 5 tips tomorrow, and then I'm going to move on to Widowhood cocks and how we raise Widowhood cocks. And we did have some really good Widowhood cocks, so I'll do that. So I'll see you all tomorrow, and thank you very much for watching, and thank you very much for everyone who subscribed to the channel, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Thank you very much.